Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is time for art. Welcome back. My name is Hershey Petty. I'm your host, and we're here again with our esteemed artist, Allison Crary. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm really, really great. I'm also really excited for today's live stream. This is going to be a very interactive event today. We've got Allison's going to go over with everybody at home with all the materials that are needed, but we're going to be really hands-on, cutting stuff out, making something you can actually hold, which is so cool. And going along with our theme, Allison, we're going to be learning all about winged creatures, the anatomies of wings, different types of wings, how they bend, where they pivot, so that people can better draw wings when they see it out in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is all about imagination. We're making characters today. And so anything can have wings. And the reason we're doing this today kind of early in the month is so that if you'd like to make some characters in your journal, you have everything you need to get started. And we're going to look at some winged creatures in pop culture, and we're going to kind of figure out how they did it. And we're going to work with some of the templates that we provided, and it's a really fun, light, but interactive day that we're excited.
Yeah, very cool. So some of the we're gonna be working out of our art journals today again. So you're gonna be adding some really fun pages to your art journal that you could be proud of. I'm not like some of the wings that I've been thinking of. This is the angel wings.
Beautiful, Hershey. Yeah.
Like that? Yeah.
Really lovely. Yes.
I do an airplane as well.
I love that. And I love all the colors you got into that. Really, really nice.
Thank you. And then a monarch butterfly.
Gorgeous.
Everything that's got wings. And then I also these are drawings from last week. I colored those in because
there's your owl. Oh, that's so fantastic.
Nice. And then here's our moth to the flower. There.
Excellent. And we're going to be painting those on canvas. So what a nice dry run.
Yeah, can't wait.
Get your paint out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, something that I think I'm going to do today is these wingback chairs. I'm going to try to put wings on a wingback chair, maybe see if it with a chair flies. I don't know if you guys can see that. There you go.
Fantastic. I love that idea. And I love thinking about how we've added wings, like a wingback chair is the name of a chair. And we don't think twice about it, but it's that same idea of the concept of something having wings. So
what else I think of too, and I would love to get everybody at home that are following along. Let me know in the comments some of the fun things that you guys can think of that have wings as we go over all the different creatures today that have wings. And also please today, because this is such an interactive day, please questions, comments, whatever you might think of, please put them in the comments for me, and I will answer as best I can. But last thing I want to show before you go into Allison, I want you to see the flamingo that I drew as well.
That's phenomenal. Oh, I love that.
I love the exaggerated neck, like most things that we feel right here, and in the flamingo, they're a much different place. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Fabulous. Well, I'm going to show you what I did in my journal. I had some leftover paint. I had the brown out and I had the blue out, and I did kind of a watercolor technique on that. And then I got into kind of the moths and the insects. That's what was sort of inspiring me at the time. And just painted these guys in, and then just put in some text, fly away. And it was just a fun, I didn't think too much about it. Just a very free, kind of happy couple pages I added to my journal. So I was excited to get to do that and share that with everybody.
Nice.
But without further ado, I'd like to get into our wing construction. And so I just want to go through what everybody needs, and we'll give everybody a chance. If you want to follow along, we're kind of covering a lot today, so this might be a good one to start in your journals, take some notes, do some scribbles, and then go back and do it. But you're going to need some scissors because we're going to cut this page out. So you need your wing diagram, and you're going to need some scissors today. You're going to need your time for a pencil. We included these little brass brads in the kit this month. So make sure you have these. Today's the day we're going to use them. You're going to need your wing construction worksheet. That's right here. This is something I came up with just to kind of simplify some wing anatomy. And we're going to reference that today. You're going to need your 2 mannequin vellum templates. And really, we're not going to do this one today. This is the one I'm going to challenge everybody to do before we see each other again. But this one is the one we're going to work on. This like seated guy, hands folded. Right here. And then you're going to need your labels or some tape to tack some things down like we usually do. You're going to need your journals. You're going to need your graphite transfer paper. I cut mine in half just for presentation sake because I've got a lot. I've got a lot I do and not a lot of set space. And so it's things like that are important. And then we're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut apart this. And you have 6 pieces here and just keep the 2 separate. So I'm going to cut down the middle first. And does not have to be especially precise along the edge. You want to make sure you can see the line. So I'd say cut on the outside of the line.
Right. When I was cutting mine earlier today, the first couple, I was like in every little crevice. And then I was like,
yeah, you're like, no. And this is for our reference. This is to teach us. And so I did not do a lot of, what's the word? I was taught very disciplined drawing and painting and color work and growing up. And it was awesome. I learned so much and it was amazing. Make your own characters and kind of do something a little different. Wasn't really what I was taught. And so I think it's really important because if you want to do something creative, or let's say you want to be an illustrator, you want to illustrate something and you've got you want something, say with wings, there's ways you can look at nature and look at art and look at examples of all of this and put something together. And so that's what we're going to do today. It's still very much rooted in.
We're going to be a little silly.
But we're going to be a little silly and we're going to still learn something very specific, but I'd like to see everybody kind of try and make some winged creatures.
Yeah. All right.
Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts certainly plays with a lot of these ideas. Okay. So I'm just starting so we don't lose the pieces, so to speak, or get them confused. Yeah. They will stack biggest to smallest, biggest going on the bottom. So we have the big wing, then our next smallest is going to sit on top of the big wing. And then our next smallest from there is going to sit on top of the smaller wing. Same thing. And I have this chipboard out just so we can see these a little better. So let's rearrange here for the moment. Big wing, smaller wing, smallest wing, stacking up from there.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen on this side. And this is a bird wing.
Right, because that's
different from an insect.
Yeah.
Different than a
bat wings.
A plane.
What do you have for us? You've got griffins, bats. Had angels. So we're gonna learn about all. We're
gonna talk about all of them. And the other thing, because we're doing something very much rooted in imagination, the way you choose to portray something is totally up to you, right? And so it's like, what does an angel look like? I haven't seen one. So I'd like to, that'd be cool. But so it's what other artists through history have portrayed angels like, or what does a fairy look like? And then people do things differently. And we're going to talk about all of that in
before
Just a
today,
moment.
I mean, you guys at home, I'm sure some of you as well, before today, I thought wings were, a wing was a wing was a wing.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. So we're going to learn about the way different wings pivot, where they pivot, what that looks like. They all kind of pretty much have the same anatomy, but they do different things. So
yeah, and then if you look at these, like some parts, depending on the animal, are longer or shorter, but they all, at least the bird wing that we're kind of starting with, and we'll talk a little bit about insect wings too, but the bird wing that we're kind of starting with, all sort of has a lot of the same movement. So, okay.
Yeah.
I now have my wings cut out just like this. And again, the way we want this to go, we want our biggest wings on the bottom and the lowest in the layers, right? The bottom of the layers and the bottom, if we're going vertically, if top and bottom goes this way and top and bottom goes this way, the bottom both ways. The next biggest wing sits on top of there and will connect where the circles connect. Sitting on top of that, the smallest wings, just like that. And we're gonna get out our brads. You have 6, you really only need 4 for what we're doing.
Well, yeah, okay. The other 2 I thought was to put it onto a creature.
Exactly, which you can do. But for what we're doing right now, no need. So I'm gonna start with my top wings, and I'm just gonna it's actually a little easier if you start kind of poking through with your pencil. And this one's the most sensitive, the top one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and sort of prick these first with a pencil. Remember, you want your smallest wing on top. I'm gonna feed our brad through, just like this. Spread the brad's wings, because that's kind of just like that. Same thing over here. I'm gonna prick the top one with a pencil in the sort of the middle point of the circle. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just like this. Get out our brad. Don't know why they're called brads. Does anyone know why they're called brads?
No, but I'm sure there's a really funny joke there.
I laughed and look what happened. My wings flew away.
You know what's cool about the bird wings too? I'm really excited for everyone to just see the different examples that you have of different types of wings, because even though they're going to look totally different, once we learn the anatomy and where they bend, we'll be able to see, you're going to see like how all the wings are so, like they just got different lengths and different variations, but you'll be able to draw all of them once you
able to draw all of them. And then if you want to position them, we're going to even give that example of how you can set it up 3-dimensionally, snap a picture, and then draw from that picture.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's coming too. So still working here. I'm poking through.
Oh, 1 second. I got to plug my computer in. Just a moment. I almost forgot.
We don't want to lose Hershey. That wouldn't be good. All right. So this one is all set up and it moves. Maybe get it going. Just like that. He's back.
Here we go. How's everybody doing at home? Are you guys able to follow along? Are you cutting out your wings and getting your brads in? Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or are you running into anything that you want to note? I know that Allison, when she and I discussed this earlier today, and if it wasn't for a really helpful video she sent me, I would not have known. So, like, if you
right, we didn't give you any instructions on how to put these together. And really that's because I thought it would be way too hard to put it in writing, kind of how it's a lot easier to demonstrate. I also think no one likes written instructions. So there's that. At least I don't. Okay, so I've got my wings put together. I also have some that I've played with, messed with, taped up. These are going to get messy. That's the idea. These are toys meant to be played with.
That's right.
So, and again, the important thing is not to cut around. We want to see the lines. Is kind of the idea. So here are my 2 sets of wings that I have. These I just came up with. These are over here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about wing construction. And if you were a zoologist or, I don't know, a bird watcher, you might know what these bones are named or what they're called. I'm neither of those. So we're going to talk a little bit about wings bird wings specifically, have these kind of 3 pivot points. The exception, but still part of it, is some wings like this, for example, the bald eagle I have down here, it kind of connects sort of right to the bird, or there's a bone right here that's very short. Okay. So some wings kind of stick right on the animal at this point. Some others have kind of a bone here and it still pivots there, but it's got this kind of shoulder in here too. So it connects to the animal, human, creature that we're working with today right here, comes up over and around like this, and then goes from there. Now, also, they stack up kind of where there's this underwing that kind of comes around from this point to this point. And then just like how we did bottom wing, next wing, top to bottom, that's how this is set up too. So this wing kind of goes all the way through the back and moves. And this wing sits in front of it. And then these feathers sit kind of in front of that. Am I making sense so far? So these 3 pivot points.
We all have these in front of us so we can follow along.
Yes. So these 3 pivot points correspond to these 3 pivot points. This part, this red part down here, is our part down here. Just like that.
Yeah.
This wing, this blue part, is this part right here. It also pivots right here. And that the very front layer of the wing is this green sort of front fluffy layer in the front, just like that. And funny enough, I am yet to find a bird, I haven't looked that hard, but that doesn't somewhat follow this construction. So you can fly like this. You can fly like this, for example. Kind of like how we're setting up this wing right here. You can fly kind of like this. And in these examples where you bend your wing like this, we'll just hide, for our reference, the feathers kind of in the back. Sort of like that, if you're using a wing.
Yeah.
This way.
You know, our one of our friends, Cheryl in Indiana, she actually looked up for us why it's called a brad, and
thank you.
The definition was actually it wasn't very satisfying. I guess the holes here are called chads, and the things that go through are called brads.
And there's definitely a joke to be had.
Definitely a joke
for
there.
Chad.
Yeah.
And Brad. And that's amazing. All right. So I have found, while everyone kind of works on their wings, I'll take you through all the examples first, and then we'll break down how the wing goes. So everybody grab your journals. If you're still cutting out your wings, if you're still putting them together, you have a minute or two. We don't really need to keep this handy, but I showed everybody kind of how this shakes out. But again, the big thing here is this sort of point either hits right onto the bird body or has a short bone here that connects and you kind of see this shoulder, or a longer one. And that's one of the variables we're going to look at here. Otherwise, the same all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and move this guy. We're going to kind of resituate here. I have this out so you can best see how the wing moves from here. I'm going to go ahead and have one of my looser wings. I've broken this guy in. And then so we're going to set this up. I'm going to have the wing here. Then my sketchbook right here. You see all that?
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
Move some of these guys. And the first one I'm going to show, I have live action Angelina Jolie as a fairy. This is when she was Maleficent the fairy, not Maleficent the girl or Maleficent the dragon. Fairy, Maleficent. And this is kind of looks like a bird wing. This to me right here looks a little bit like a dragon wing. This kind of curly bone that sort of sticks out right here. Looks to me a little bit like a dragon wing. We're going to go through all these again. I'm just going to kind of show everyone what we're working with. This next one is Falcon. Falcon is an Avenger. His wings are not natural, to my knowledge. They are constructed. Similar though, what I thought was cool about this is all of this bone structure that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Right in here, they've got in here and they made it look very mechanical, which I thought was very cool. And then all of this kind of front wing that we talked about is very much still referenced here with the red. And we have under feathers over here. So very much Falcon inspired and might even move the same way. So we're gonna take a look at him. We have Tinkerbell. And what's kind of cool about Tinkerbell is these wings are not bird wing inspired. They're more insect wing inspired. And so we'll look at that for a little bit. We have some insects in our templates. And so we'll check that out. Here's Tinkerbell again in Hook, Julia Roberts version, my personal favorite. Also has, this is the only one where they really showed, what's that?
Those are reminiscent of the moth wings.
Very reminiscent of the moth wing, exactly. And again, more the insect wing, but I liked the earthy sort of take on Tinkerbell, not the like kind of sparkly fairy. Still a fairy, awesome fairy. But very cool as well. We'll take a look at that. This is what I got when I looked for a Griffin. Harry Potter fans, Gryffindor inspired. And this one artist take on a Griffin. And this to me looks kind of like lion meets bird meets, it looks like it's got wings kind of where ears might go. On a lion, it's got the front two feet here look kind of like the talons of a bird. The back two kind of look like a lion. Here's a good example of how the wings are kind of on, or there's this kind of bone right here before the 3 pivot points that we work with, just like this. So we'll take a look at that. This is a good example of where they're not, where it connects. This is a mythic creature of some sort. It's got a cat's face, so to speak, maybe a lioness. The ear kind of looks, it's a little bit like this with the kind of more wing inspired. Ears kind of upturned, kind of like this. It's got sort of a seahorse kind of piece right here, which is interesting. And I'd say the rest of it is definitely cat with this kind of eagle wing. But the connection, there's not really a bone right here. It's just got our 3 pivot points, just like this. And this one curls up, which I thought was super cool. And that's why we're taking a look at this one. Here's a dragon wing. And the dragon wing, I'd say we can still take a look at this, but it's definitely got kind of some bat wing inspiration. This to me looks very bat wing this sort of
Yeah.
scalloped edge that we see, kind
So
of
you don't
like
see
that.
feathers on those wings.
You
Those
don't
wings
see
are made of
feathers
skin.
on these wings. So I'd say it's kind of bird wing meets bat wing on this dragon. And it's got some of these kind of bony pricklies, kind of more similar to the Maleficent wing that we took a look
Can
at.
you point out all of the pivots on that wing?
So we will. We're gonna get into. We're gonna draw them all.
Okay. Copy.
Oh, we will. But we're just taking a look at what's here, letting everybody set up, and then last but not least, and I think maybe my favorite of this collection of pop culture winged creatures, we have John Travolta as an angel, and John Travolta as an angel, holding a dog, cute one, walking through a cornfield. It looks like, or not. There's no corn. Walking through a dirt area, maybe on a farm. And this is a good example of the pivot points are here, if you look, and there is that kind of bone or sort of piece right here that connects to kind of shoulders here. When I was looking for this, and I haven't seen this movie in a long time, movie Michael, there's a very funny dance scene I caught. So if you just want to go on YouTube and find the dance scene, it doesn't. It's funny, charming, good. Anyway, but yeah, that's what we're working with here. So I'm going to kind of flip back on all of these. We're going to start with Angelina here.
Okay.
And the tricky thing about some of these wings and the photography is that we can't, unfortunately, I couldn't find an image of all of the wings completely spread. So it looks to me like this point right here is right on the other side of her shoulder. All right. This right here is the pivot point here. So this is this piece right here. And then it swings out like this.
Yeah.
Just like that, right? And I'd say the noticeable difference is this is more convex right here, and it's more concave right here. And so this kind of has, I think, a bat wing kind of shaped usually more like this. So some bat wing inspiration, some kind of eagle wing inspiration. And then it's got this kind of horn right here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. And please tell me if you can't see this. But I'm going to put a mark right here where this mark would be. And then here's our pivot point. And then it's probably going to go off like this. And I'm drawing from here and from here. I'm going to go kind of concave like this. I'm hitting a pivot point right here, out like this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Wings come sort of over like this. Taking it off the page. This area right here is this area right here. You see how the feathers get kind of smaller. So that's this area kind of here. And I'm going to go ahead and include, I'm going to make this darker so everybody can see it. It's big, beautiful. And we don't really see any external bone structure, but we do get this really cool kind of dragon wing horn that comes over like this. We kind of see some of the bone structure right here that's kind of rounded. And I'm going to take that over.
We got a couple people asking for just a little bit darker.
Yep.
Pencil. Can do that. Thank you.
Certainly a reasonable request. And so I took it like this, but these wings also, the feathers kind of fill in around here. You know what? For this particular demonstration, we're not going to be doing too much erasing just because we're kind of figuring things out right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and use a pen.
Oh, okay. Great idea.
So I'm going to go ahead and label this one Fairy Maleficent. And I'm going to move on. That's kind of how this one goes. So that's how this is the shoulder right here. She's kind of over here. And that's how this wing was kind of composed. This is kind of cool that it's got one feather that kind of hangs low. I think that gives it kind of some drama. The feathers come around this way. These were very dramatic. If you saw the movie, I don't know if people like this movie. I liked this movie. But
I didn't see it.
It's the first one of the live action Maleficent. I didn't see the second one. I don't think it did quite as well, but this is our first wing that we're looking at. All right. So the next one, we set it up kind of like this. We made the adjustments. We made this side a little bit concave. We added this kind of dragon sort of thorn that kind of sticks out this way. Oh, lost it. Got it back. And that's our wing here. Next, we have Falcon, this attractive man. So pivot points similar. This almost looks like the first pivot point here kind of starts in the back of his neck. So it doesn't start on his shoulder. It kind of starts kind of in the back of his neck. So that kind of comes out this way. And the wings here, this is kind of concave. So this is kind of more like this, sort of shaped like that. And this would be more elongated. So here are the pivot points. I'm actually going to kind of put this, I'm going to put this horizontal like this. And so let's say these are his shoulders, but I'm just going to kind of put those in for. So, and this is his neck. And I'm putting this in just because it's kind of interesting to me that the wings sort of start actually almost above his neck, kind of right here. So face. I was actually at a Comic-Con with Mackie. I went to a local Comic-Con where I inspired the female Ghostbuster movie. I can tell that story at a different time. But I went as a Ghostbuster and all these nerds came up to me and said I was the first female Ghostbuster they'd ever seen. And I said, I think I was the first female they'd ever seen. I didn't say it to their face, but that's what I was thinking. But anyway, the consensus was, I'm going to just go ahead and draw them in here. But the consensus was, it was baffling to these nerds at local Rosemont Comic-Con that there was a female Ghostbuster, that I'd done that. And I made my costume. I was really proud of it. And
you know what? Can you switch to pen? We're getting more.
That's right. That's right. I said I was going to do that and I didn't. And so there, I'm just putting in his glasses for fun.
There you go.
And so anyway, lo and behold, 6 months later, what drops? There's going to be an all-female Ghostbuster movie. And I think somebody saw me.
Yeah.
At Comic-Con. That's what I think happened. Because believe me, it was
your idea.
I don't know if it was my idea, but it was groundbreaking to these people that I came as a Ghostbuster and was in fact a female. Okay, so there's my that's my Anthony Mackie. Here's his shoulder. The wing kind of starts right there. So we're gonna, and then kind of comes out like this. So maybe that's that kind of bone in between. So pivot point here. So it's kind of as if it would start here and then there was a line right here to our pivot point, if everyone can see that. And then comes out here. There's our pivot point. I'm guessing these come way out. So probably our next pivot point's right here. And our wing comes in like that. Everyone can see that? Yeah. And then what's interesting to me is, like I said before, all of this that we've taken a look at, they kind of engineered, forged mechanically. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that in, kind of like this. There's some I don't know, style work that goes in here. And then there is this kind of front wing, back wing that they make sort of cool, and it looks like it collapses on itself, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it in kind of like that. And then we've got these wings kind of come out of there. So there's our Falcon.
Yeah. Right. I don't like, so the, I'm trying to draw mine in right now. I've got some very similar. You see, I don't know, everyone at home.
Yeah. Oh, you went both ways. Oh, very nice. Mine was going the
I
one.
had to.
You had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. An attractive man to draw. All right. Next, we have Tinkerbell. And I actually, if I can find it, I had out our Tinkerbell insect wings. Well, I'm not going to worry about it, but basically, much like our moth wings is our Tinkerbell wing. And the part that I really picked up on is this, I'm throwing my pen around, this bottom wing. Just a sec. We'll get our light back.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
There we
This
go.
bottom wing right here sits in front of the top wing on insects. So I'd say
If you're looking at it, Tinkerbell, the bottom wing is in front of the top
is
wing.
in front of the top wing. So in this instance, we have these kind of butterfly wings that kind of come out like this. And then the moth wing sits in front of, or the bottom wing sits in front of that. And Tinkerbell would kind of go right here.
Like this is going to be a wing that I'm going to draw a lot.
And so I'm putting in Tinkerbell just for placement's sake. So definitely a simpler wing, but definitely not a bird wing, more of an insect wing.
And those, do those have just one pivot right on the back then?
Doesn't even really pivot. It's a wing that sits here and a wing that sits here and kind of sits on an axis, like at an axis in the back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of opens and shuts like a book.
Well, you think about the way those kind of things fly compared to like a bird, which kind of soars, like it makes sense they'd be different.
It very definitely flies differently than a bird, undeniably.
Yeah.
So there's Tinkerbell wings. And I'd say similar yet even still for Julia Roberts' Tinkerbell. But the reason I wanted to include this one is because it was two takes on the same idea. So we have a very sparkly Tinkerbell wears leaves. She's got a cute bun. She's got kind of sparkly wings. Sparkles surround her. Animated. This is, I think, very earthy. You can tell she kind of made her own clothes. She's got some leaves to scale, which is kind of cool. This could be made from anything. We've got some hand stitched, but it's just a different take on the same thing. And the wings, again, same thing here. So we have her face kind of in here. I actually think she looks a little bit like Peter Pan here.
Yeah, the posture.
The posture, and even like some of like the kind of elfin ears.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm just gonna put in there's my
Keeping in mind that the bottom wing is in front.
Bottom wing is in front. You can't really see it here, but I thought these were really beautiful wings and just the attention to detail in them.
Yeah.
They kind of come up like this, and then they've got this kind of broken contour edge, kind of comes around like this over this way, and then this bottom wing would sit, assuming it comes out in front of this, the finishing of this wing, probably down here. Can't really see them though. So she sparkles just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Give her some eyebrows. That's how that wing's set up.
Okay.
Next, we have our griffin. And this is a good example of, get our wings back out. Pivot, it starts here. So there's kind of a line, use the pen, that comes down like this, right? Hits a pivot point here, comes back like this. This comes to the front again over here, and then pivots again back here. And we'll tuck this back in. So there is our griffin wing. All right, set up like this. These wings come off into a point, but if we're going to draw this, I'm not going to draw the whole griffin, right? So I'm going to start with this point. I'm going to put it right here. It comes down. I'm just going to set it up like right there. Down like this. This line right here, over like this, comes back around here. And these feathers, if they extended, would just be much longer, right? So it would come back around this way. Fill that in.
So on the drawing, where's the third pivot?
So here, I have pivot here. This is the extra mark.
Sorry, I meant the drawing of the griffin. Like I'm trying to look and see, is it the bottom
Pivot
part
here.
just in a...
These are the 3 points.
Okay, got you.
And then I have this, so it would be as if this line right here went very far, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So it'd be like if this came out like that. Do you see that line I just made here, Hershey?
Yes, I do. Perfect.
Just like that. So this comes out like this. And so the feathers come around this way. The fluffy feathers come around this way. There's kind of 2 rows of them, kind of like there's 2 rows right here. This way. And then we have these big, there's here. And then the griffin would be kind of around here. Just like that. But that's how this, and then this wing would set up right around, just doing the same thing. Just like that. That's how that one works. But with this model, again, they're all a little bit different, but they move kind of the same way. And when you have these, when you want to go put wings on something, you have a good 3-dimensional template to work from. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Following up, we have our other mythical creature, lion, seahorse, other. And here's what I thought was cool about this. This, again, it attaches right to the body. So the pivot point sort of starts right here. This line's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of comes up like this right here. Right? So this kind of comes around here. And then this curls up right here. Right? So, and then the feathers fill in between. So pivot point 1, 2, 3. And we're going to kind of connect this with this sort of swoosh. And the feathers fill in Here's that kind of front feather part. I kind of collect over in here. Just like this. And then our cat, if we were doing it, would be kind of over here. Like this. This is how this wing sets up around there.
That's a very extra. I like that wing. That's got a lot of flavor.
It's a cool looking wing, right? I like this curl. That's why I picked it.
Mhm.
Dragon wing. So this was, we're just gonna call this mythical creature. Dragon wing. So kind of opposite here. We see some of these sort of like thorns or horns that stick out, kind of like we did on our Maleficent wing.
Yeah.
But this would be very long right here, right? So this space is this space, right? On our wing. And then this kind of pivots again right here, right?
Oh, yeah. Different proportions.
So it's this one right here. But the main difference is this is very long right here. This isn't actually too far off, this gap right here. And this is more concave, kind of like we saw with the Maleficent wing. And also to be noted is this animal doesn't have this, it doesn't have shoulders like a person, right? So this is setting up, these connect much lower from the head than all the other ones we've looked at so far. So in this case, the dragon face is probably somewhere around here, right? Dragons over here. Neck comes around here. Back here is where these, I'm using a pen for this. So our dragon sits over here, right? Doesn't look very happy. This comes around like this. Sets up probably down here somewhere. And then, so the first point would be right here. The next point would be right here, maybe. And that's a concave line, not a convex line like this. Next line, this is pretty straight, goes here to here, just like this, here to here, and then comes over like this. You can see this sort of bone right here, kind of like a bat wing. Comes up and like this, comes over and points up like that. And then it's got this kind of scalloped wing. We don't see the end of it because the dragon's neck is kind of in front of it. And then if we want to add some of these pieces, kind of like how these, I'm going to call them thorns, like we saw them on Maleficent. This guy's got 3 of them. Maleficent had 1 of them that we could see. Just like that. Okay. There's our dragon wing. But again, some of the same movements, a lot like our bird wing. And my personal favorite, John Travolta, the angel. And in this instance, so we have kind of a figure in the middle here, right? Here he is. He's holding a dog. All right. Looks like the connection points are like kind of low on his shoulder blades. And actually not too far off what we have here, but there's this kind of connection piece right here. So between here and here. So we come up like this. over like this and out sort of like this. So I'd say the wing, if we connect right here, looks a lot like that.
And on the picture
Does
of
that make
Michael,
sense?
on the picture of Michael, can you point out the 3 pivot points?
Sure. So I'm putting a mark right here that connects to this pivot point here, right? So there's 2 pivot points, like kind of behind his suspenders, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, interestingly enough, the wings don't sit back here. They kind of extend past his shoulders, right? So if we have the 2 pivot points here, and let's go ahead and put it in his suspenders, kind of like this, right? The next pivot point on the drawing, that's where I'm putting these 2 points right here. It's kind of here and here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and make that connection. Kind of like that. Okay. So that's from here to here. Then we get this nice kind of arc, and that's what this is right here.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Okay. To this pivot point here. So arc to this pivot point here. So, but it's already kind of descending, right? So
yeah,
there's a pivot point right here, and you can actually almost see it in the reference right here. Is they have it really in there. I don't know how to tell you this. I don't think these are real wings.
You don't?
I just don't. I don't think they are. And then there's another pivot point here where the feathers start to descend, and then they even exceed that, right? So that's kind of how these wings set up, right? And so they come down like this. And they kind of come out before they go back in, kind of like this. And this part comes up and over like that. And this part kind of comes up and over like that. And that's kind of how these wings, give them some hair. It's got a lot of hair. Looking up at the sky.
These wings are a little bit different too, because like you said, they're not real, you know, that like not, you know, like you're not sure what's going on there.
Well, it's they kind of come up and around like this, right? And so these bottom wings kind of follow. They're not too different from here, actually. If you look, this kind of set it would. So if we look at this this wing right here, it would be as if there was a connection right here, right, like that. And then these wings kind of set up.
Maybe suspenders.
So like the suspender. So there's like a suspender right here, right?
Yeah.
He's right here. And then it's got these wings that kind of exceed right here. That's our Travolta angel wing.
Yes.
Kind of like that. And so similar works. But we've taken our diagram of a bird, basic bird wing, right? And we've applied it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different winged creatures. And it applies.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we did that.
It really does. That's cool.
So those are our scribbles there. Everyone kind of understands now how wings work and how we can add them to, in this instance, all figures. Well, no, we had some animals in there with our Sphinx and our Griffin and some of the other ones. I wanted to show one of the inspirations for winged creatures. This is my flying pig. I want to make sure everyone can see it. And it's got itty bitty wings on kind of a big pig.
Inspiration for the
we have a flying pig coming up. We're not going to do it today, but yes.
Okay.
And to me, this represents possibility because these are very small wings on a very large pig. And I got this. This was in my first apartment in Chicago, and I've had it in every apartment since. And to me, this is all about if this pig can get off the ground, which I believe it can. So can any idea or obstacle. You just need to find the right wings. And they might not always look like the right wings, but get this pig off the ground. So can anyone get anything off the ground? So this is one of my favorite winged creatures. And I wanted to include that. So, okay. So I'm going to now reach for my mannequin, and we're going to do the seated mannequin. We don't need this anymore.
Okie dokie.
today. And I am going to put wings on this mannequin. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use my glue stick. You can use this stands up nicely, which is why I'm going to use it. But I am going to tape wings onto my glue stick, just like this. And then I'm going to take a picture of it, and then we're going to do it from the picture. So
you're going to create your glue stick. You're going to create like a model guy, a 3D.
I'm going to create a model. I'm going to take a picture of the model. I'm going to position it just like this, and then we're going to draw the wings. So I'm going to say this glue stick is this sort of torso and rump of the model. So this space is this space, right? And I'm going to take these wings, and I'm just going to have them kind of fly. We're going to make it simple. I'm not going to go into the intricacies of the right set. I want a mirrored set of wings here. So we're going to keep this pretty easy. And now I'm going to liberally take these wings to
everybody at home, if you're keeping up, great. If not,
just watch it again. Enjoy the show. It's
exactly.
We're just doing some new things this time.
And this whole video is going to be available on YouTube as soon as we're done. And I'm at the end here, I'm going to put a link to our YouTube page so everyone can go there and follow us, like us, subscribe, do all those things. That way you never miss a video, even if you have to miss a class.
Also available on Facebook.
That's right. Also
as soon as we're done. So, okay, so I am it is as simple as it looks. Taping my wings to this glue stick. And the only reason I chose a glue stick is because it stands up straight. And to make sure they match. And I'm going to snap a picture of my wings. And if all goes well, it should be right here.
All right.
There's our wings. I'm going to turn it around. So we can see it. Just like that. So, okay, we have wings in roughly the same position. If this were this on
I see what you're doing.
Our mannequin, right? So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this guy. Everyone knows how we transfer. We want to use one of our labels. We have it right here. I'm actually going to cut the top off of this because we don't need all this vellum. Transfer this guy. It's the same.
Like this when you're drawing, do you really do
all the time?
Really, that's so cool.
So some artists are really great at like thinking up how the wings would go, right? Like, oh, and it was like me. No, that's hard. You know what's not hard? This.
Yeah, and this is more fun.
I set the whole thing up. I got a model. I got wings now in the correct perspective, set up with the correct pivot points. But I haven't done this yet, so we're gonna see how this looks. I'm gonna go ahead. I've hinged it at the top. I've got my graphite paper, graphite side down, shiny side down. It's a basic artist model. They're super cheap on Amazon or anywhere. Some of them are wood, some of them are plastic, but we keep it. It's just good for positioning or exactly what we're doing right here.
Mhm.
Makes it easy. This.
Everyone at home, that I'm looking forward to, so is Allison, looking forward to seeing what you guys have come up with. You know, right now Allison is using the vellum transfer for the trace for the guy, but like she was saying earlier, you can use whatever you want. A pig, I'm gonna use a wingback chair. You guys do whatever you want.
All right, so here is our guy. We don't know who he's going to be yet. He could be anything. She could be anything. This is at this point a gender neutral model that we're going to add wings to. Could be a fairy like we saw Maleficent has had the Maleficent fairy had kind of the bird wings. Could be an angel. Could be anything, right? We're going to add wings to this figure. So I'm going to decide where the pivot point, where this pivot point, where our first mark is going to go. And I think I'm going to go a little lower with it. So I think I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put it right above, kind of right behind the shoulder. I think I'm going to put it right here. Does everyone see where I put that right there? So this is going to go right here. Yeah. Then this point, this is almost to scale, right? It's about the same. So this point's going to go right about here. And I can kind of see where it would go on the other wing right here. So that's going to kind of probably hit right about here. And then this sits right about here. We know where this pivot point is because we can see it on the other side here. So it's going to go right about here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw in my wing. This is going to come over this way. For this back wing, I'm actually going to start with that because I think it's going to be a little bit easier. I'm just going to draw this outer edge contour. So this comes around like this, down like this, over here, and we run into that wing. This, it probably comes up like this, up to here. This wing starts kind of this way, but like you saw, we saw a lot of these wings kind of fill in this way. So even like this wedge right here gets filled in with feathers. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all that in. I'm going to draw, so it would be as if the feather started down here and came up here. So this sort of arc right here, just like that. There's this kind of front fluffy part of the wing, which I'm sure has a name. I didn't learn. It comes up like this. The feathers fill in. Just like that. And then there's this kind of feather that's even shorter in front like that. I'm going to erase my pivot points. And that, how I very quickly made this figure with fairly accurate wings. How I've given this figure. You see this swinging back? Maybe. Give it a few feathers down there. I'm going to go over with pen the lines I'm keeping.
A little flare at the end of those wings, yeah.
A little flare at the end of the wings. And it's, like I said, we want to get this kind of front fluffy part or this kind of back fluffy part that kind of extends. And then there's this sort of front fluffy feathered part that comes around like that.
You know what we haven't touched on just yet, which I think is really important too to drawing wings, how, and you have them on the diagram here, just the way the feathers are layered.
Sure, let's get that out again. So there is these kind of long feathers in the back, and they kind of get smaller and move a little differently as we go up. And that's kind of how we have this guy. So I think, what kind of character should I make this? Let's go with kind of a, like kind of a flower crown angel fairy. So I'm gonna go kind of
A flower crown angel fairy.
yeah. I didn't really want to go angel. I didn't really want to go fairy. So I'm gonna go kind of curly hair. And it comes around this way. I'm gonna put the nose right on the edge of the picture plane here. So I'm gonna go kind of turn up nose.
Yeah, there's the layer of a much shorter feathers.
They're in the front, yeah.
Wow.
So that's the face I just gave her. And then I'm gonna give her kind of vines. That go around just like that. And there's our fairy angel. With wings. So you can now add wings to anything. I made this guy a little
And any
earlier.
type of wing you want too. Bat wing.
Any type of wing you want. Yep. With your, yeah.
Yeah.
So I made this guy a little earlier, just some dude looking forward.
Mm-hmm.
And went ahead and did the connection. Set up the wings to connect. Right here. And yeah, he can fly this way. Look at these guys. He can fly this way. He can fly. This was kind of more the Travolta wing. Sort of out here. Actually, the Travolta wing was more like this. There was that kind of connection piece out there. This would probably be more like the Falcon wing was probably more kind of like this. Kind of set up sort of behind his neck.
Is that what you're making? Are you making Falcon?
Well, that's if I were to, the Falcon wing was kind of out more like this.
Yeah.
But that's just, that was, I made a guy and I kept kind of playing with different wing. And if you wanted to connect it, you could actually. Poke through and connect sort of at the pivot point. Just like this. Sort of like that. So it's one way to do it.
There you go.
So my challenge for everyone is we have another mannequin and he's kind of making like an I don't know shrug, which kind of looks like a reverse wing. So what wings, depending on where you want to put them, would you like to put on this guy? And who is he?
He's
Or she?
Yeah. He looks confused, like he's asking for directions. So I just feel like it's a
Yeah.
man.
And so the cool thing about this is, because this is on vellum, you can kind of tuck these guys underneath and see where you want to put it, right?
Yeah, you know what? I just want to remind people at home that we actually do have these pre-printed for you. So you can go and grab these from your art kit and draw them and trace them using your paper if you like.
But you can set them out, kind of like the Travolta wing was kind of more like out here, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. And there was a connection right there. And the Falcon sat up kind of higher like this.
Yeah.
It was kind of more like this up here. That opened up sort of like that with the feathers kind of coming out that way. But who would you like this to be? Maybe try and make it into a character or put wings on a pig or anything else. But
yeah,
I'd like to try and make some winged characters. We're studying wings in all the different ways. The dragon wings kind of sat up more like this, right? Kind of attached here. But then the first pivot point, like this piece came way up high over there. So who would you like this to be? What would you like it to do? This can be anyone or anything, but you've got the foundation for a winged creature. Let's see that. All right. We will do time for art again next Wednesday. We are going to paint the owl. We're going to paint the owl. And it's going to be really
I'm very excited for Wednesday because we're getting the paints out. We're going to get dirty. We're going to put paint on canvas and we're going to have an owl painting when we're done.
Yeah, we're going to move very quickly. Fear not. Right. There is an entire step-by-step with good places to pause tutorial video. To get to it, you scan the QR code on your owl template. It's going to take you right there. Give it a try. We're interested in feedback on those videos too. We'd like to know if they were helpful, how we could improve them, because we want those to be very, very user-friendly and very, very effective in figuring out exactly down to the detail. If you want to give it a try ahead of time and ask us questions, when you have all the materials you need, you've sketched it once, go ahead and dig in and give it a try. And if you want to ask us some questions, if you want to keep working on your painting when we get to it on Wednesday, but we're going to, with swaps, take you all the way through the owl. And we're really excited about it. So
very excited. And there's a couple questions that are coming through in the comments right now. I want to answer before we go. Emily Hoffman was wondering which colors we're going to use for the owl. And I think they should be right?
Yep. We're going to use Falcon blue and we're going to use raw umber.
You guys will see that we use a ton of that white that I don't have, that's not in hand reach for me, which is rare. We'll use a ton of that white and then just those other two colors. And those should be bundled up inside your inside of your kit and your time for art box. And then also, so that you guys have it, I just put in the comments the link to our YouTube page where you could go watch those step-by-step videos if you fall behind, and also and make sure you like, subscribe, and set the notifications so that you don't miss a single video that's coming from Time for Art. Allison, thank you so much for your time. And I got my guy. Look at my guy.
Oh, fantastic.
You know who this is?
Oh, there you go.
This reminds me of that guy who's standing on top of Sao Paulo, Brazil, or Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very, very nice.
All right. So awesome. Thank you, Allison, so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday for paint day.
Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Take care, everybody.